Hi again, it's me, Melikachian. So today we are continue our quest to become an expert. And number two lesson, it's going to be actually continue again our previous one regarding how to attack the king when king stands on the same side. And second example, I prepare game between. I'm not going to be scared to say that between two great players, Grandmaster Topalov and Kramnik. In fact, these two great players provide to us many interesting battles. They fought very hard. They've been fighting like for a whole their career. They play many interesting games. And this game has been played back to 1996 in Russia at Super Tournament in Novgorod. And again, I think both players being in the best shape pretty much. So we'll see how a game has been developed. Topalov having white pieces versus Kramnik, 1996. Yeah, back to those days, Kramnik be playing Sicilian very often. It's now Kramnik's kind of changed. He's playing like more Petrov, more kind of super solid stuff. But back to those days, if you guys follow Kramnik's like games, he's been playing Sveshnikov, he's been playing this modern Sicilian a lot. Okay, so Bishop C4. And here, Topalov has been decided to step away from the main roads. In fact, main road here it's knight b3. He went knight c6. Yeah, many cases here could be many moves could be here done by black. In a game happening e6, I would say since I'm dragon player, I would say g6 here makes more sense to me, and I think it's actually okay. Because these two pawns will stay here to defend all the squares around the center. E7 pawn will defend the 6 pawn. I don't think so. I needed to actually move the e pawn, and I would play here g6, bishop g7 without any doubts. And especially my queen here, with help of my bishop here, could be really helpful. But again, I'm not the guy, I'm not the person who will judge Kramnik play, because he's obviously a way better player than me. He chose here to play e6. And knight e7. Well, I'll tell you what's going on. I think here Kramnik's concern was, let's say, on bishop e7 move. I think his concern was maybe to white could play e5. E5, e, queen e5. So looks like, I'm going to explain again for you guys, looks like here white could have slightly better chances, since black having this slightly issue with pawn structure. They have more islands than white. And I think in general, after I put my bishop on b3, I shut down this like view from the black queen. I move my bishop c1 somewhere, could be e3, could be maybe g5. I think, speaking in general, white's having definitely better chances here. Not much, but better pawn structure. In fact, if I'll tell you, being black, I will still probably play bishop e7, not being too much care about like the pawn structure, because in the openings, what you care more than your pawn structure, it's actually your development. I think that's more scary for you being behind in development than having some temporarily like structure issues. So, but Kramnik is completely like positional player, and for him it's really important like to keep his position to be very perfect. So, and I guess he didn't see anything wrong, and he played here knight d7 to make sure there's no e5. Why I choose this game, I haven't seen up to this point the white's development attack, the way how they develop the attack, because most of us will play here simply like bishop b3, shut down the b file and try to move my bishop c1 somewhere, and maybe that's what Kramnik expected. And that actually gives black a really easy game. Besides, you have to always, deal with this kind of stuff. So it's not easy for you to play bishop b3 right away. But this is the game which showing kind of new to me, at least it was showing at that time when I was looking for that game. Topalov played here b3, because not too many times you can see this kind of development, and bishop b2. So clearly white's pieces are looking to the king side. The both bishops are looking for that direction, and from now Topalov organizing in a very interesting way his attack on the king. Other plan could be, I guess, natural king h1 as well, followed by this direction. But I'm assuming Topalov thought maybe it's too slow, and he had decided to attack the black king with his pieces, not his pawns, his pieces. Now not a4, f4, just to control squares. So if you play bishop f6, I probably will take on f6 and play e5. Again, typical this Finnegan type situation, this d6, e6. If you follow my lectures, black always need to control e4, e5 move. Bishop b7. And I would say that's the only mistake Kramnik made in the game. I think more natural would be to play rook f e8. I looked at the games of Kasparov. Kasparov, one of the favorite idea was to play rook f e8 and use f8 square for one of minor pieces, typically knight or bishop, most of them bishop. So rook a e8, it was kind of mistake. In fact, black could also play here d5. You can ask me why not d5 at this moment. My expectation and actually my knowledge saying to me in this kind of cases, white not doing anything with d5 yet. They simply pulling back and they play here. And now the idea, let's say if you try to provoke me, I'll play e5 and I play here f5, for instance. And that could be very strong for white to play. And let's say if you play ef, or maybe I could play e6 here. If you don't play bishop f6, then I think the way how I'm going to play this position, it's jumping with my queen, probably in this kind of cases either g4 or h5, and then using my rook lift. And it looks like still a black's king position could be in dangers to be falling apart, because let's say queen on c7 not really providing too much help, and there is some kind of disconnection between black pieces and black king. I think what should be done here, as I told before, it's either rook a d8, kind of solid positional move, or my personal favorite, it's rook e8, as I said. Rook f8, I think it's really most natural move, and I'm trying to play bishop f8, make sure my g7 pawn it's well protected, and then maybe I'm considering to play something like d5. All right, that's what I believe would be the best for black to play. Okay, let me say something else here at this moment after rook a d1. These kind of pawn, we call them critical squares, because we have one attack from the bishop on b2 and one defense from the g8 king. So anytime when this kind of square is happening, we're supposed to try to provide to them over protection. So to make sure this kind of subjects will not be fall apart. So my opinion, rook f e8 followed by bishop f8 was pretty much obligation for Kramnik to play. But maybe at the game time, Kramnik didn't feel that way. Maybe he thought, well, nothing's going on. I'm completely secure and no worries. And he actually played here rook a8. My understanding, maybe he thought rook a e8 could provoke white to play e5, to kind of put the rook on e8 in a very funny position. But I think he prepared here a very strong play by playing this. In this case, black actually is okay. So maybe that's the reason why he played rook a8. One of the reasons, obviously. Rook d3. Unbelievable move. Very strong. White's very strong. My vision, maybe one of the small misses by Kramnik was this very strong move. Rook h3. rook h3, and I think that's the kicker, because DC losing. Let me show you. DC losing because of this. Probably may follow. And if there's no DC, could be done here. I'm trying to think what could be done here after rook d3. Let's say maybe here, knight f6. And I think after this, e5, knight e4, I can play bishop d3. And I think here still white's better, because they could play c4 and then follow by this. And looks like still black position could be in danger. Yeah, definitely it seems to me rook d3 has been missed by Kramnik. So he played here c5. And now another important move for Topalov to make. It's very strong. Bishop b5. Why it's very strong? One of the main reasons why Topalov played bishop b5, it's situation, it's kind of typical pawn structure, typical knowledge in this kind of cases. So first of all, white actually doesn't need to have a bishop on c4. They actually don't need in general to have a bishop, because first I have to understand this guy here having no business on the queen side, and they're trying to make him retrieve on c3, and they would like to retrieve him on c3 after they put the pawn on c4. So it means if my pawn on c4 will stand, my pawn would control the center, will kind of still look to the center, and I think it's going to be more natural for me to play that position. So basically speaking, after c5, as soon as black pawn played c5, I think Topalov made important adjustment in his game. He understood, well, if a c5 played, then how about to shut down d6, d5 move just at all? And how about before I start to jump on my opponent, let me try to improve my position by maximum. Meaning I'm trying to make sure all my pieces are involved in the process of hunting black king. That's how actually like old-fashioned of understanding strategy works. So if you read the Stanitz, who says, number one in our strategy play, it's our development, and number two in our strategy play, it's actually improving by maximum our pieces. So I guess here Topalov made important adjustment, and he actually played here bishop b5 by seeking for trade for the bishop. And finally c4. That's really important. White was the first tied black with some defense. In fact, knight c3 also was absolutely possible way here to play. I mean, it was absolutely normal. White could even consider to play some interesting stuff. Let's say here, bishop f6, e5, followed by knight e4. But again, my expectation, Topalov thought maybe it's interesting to play knight c3, but this is like way more natural, because it keeps black bishop of being tied to defend d6 pawn. Another very interesting move decision, queen f3. White has very interesting threat, e5. Very interesting threat, unusual threat, because trying to remove this defender and attack d6. Again, guys, I'm going to again remind you, against this pawn structure, d6 and a6, White always looking for playing e4, e5. So you always think about, maybe I could create this opportunity for White to play e4, e5 to break through the whole thing in the middle. So queen f3 very strong. Queen g3, we have simply x-ray. So now, if you play g6, for instance, then after queen h3, I think it's very inconvenient situation for black to deal with. Besides, White has very funny threat, queen h7 check followed by mate. So you gotta be careful. Since I can't play bishop f6, this guy hanging on d6, I can't play here because this is hanging. The only move, knight f6. Now this is a big threat. Black must play a6. Queen h3 is helping white to attack, let's say, keep my queen and keep my eye on this diagonal, as well as on this file. And most importantly, it's helping white to have the square to use for the rook. So it means rook would join white queen to the party to attack the king. All these things are important for white to do. And after queen c6, white play rook g3. Again, many threats, queen h6, knight d5, many threats happening here. Pretty much must be done a king h8. Actually, this is going to be a good question for you guys. I'm going to put as a homework. What do you think, why black refused to play? This is a short question, by the way. Why black refused to play here g6, making sure there is no attack on g7 square? How would you proceed? How would you play after g6 move? How would you continue? This is very short homework for you. So in a game, Kramnik played king h8, rook e1. White not hurrying, that they're trying to, simply improve the position by maximum. And the reason why, again, I choose this game, to be honest, one of the reasons, it's actually for this move. Unbelievable move. That's how you play like old-fashioned. You're completely improving your position. Rook e3. Very strong. White threatening to play rook g7, king g7, rook g3 check, followed by queen h6. The way how we play the game, let's say rook e3, e3. When you having this kind of position and you're playing this kind of position, before you make your move, you always ask yourself a question. Okay, I'll make this move. What would be my threat? Like giving to yourself in your mind imaginary like second extra move. And let's say, I don't know, let's say some move, for instance. How would you play? The way how would you play is this. Check. So basically, what is your threat? After this capture, I play here. And I have very strong move, this. That's a kicker. Very strong, and I think black's position is simply not defendable. Because rook g3, I have knight f6. I think it's over. Seems to me. If I'm not mistaken. Maybe I am mistaken, then you will show me I'm wrong. So I think that was the kicker. Black couldn't, had to do something, and they played here rook g8 to defend g7. And now another strong move. Knight d1. Again, this is the best guy for in my camp, and I'm looking having this X-ray actually, right? So this guy on the way. What I'm doing, since my c3 knight not involved, I'm trying to simply eliminate the last defender. And if I'll do that, I also will remove defender from h7 square as well. Knight d1. Yeah, creates a very funny threat. After f5, my threat, bishop f6. Let's say if you think about my threat is bishop f6, queen h7, king h7, and rook h3 mate. So you have to be careful, and the only move not to lose pretty much either way, it's to play e5. In case of this, it's still bad because I have ef move. I think now I could consider to get back here and maybe use d5 square, clearly better for white. So Kramnik played here e5, and now this is a great move. I'm going to remove the defender. Again, I think you guys understood what's wrong if black would take on d5. Very nice mate. Unfortunately, black has to play this. And final move, bishop c1. Final preparing move, I would say. Bishop c1. So all white pieces are attacking strongly. Black tries to defend with last forces, make sure they're not collapsing right away, but after this, Kramnik has decided not to touch himself and he just resigned because he doesn't have any way to defend this threat bishop h6 and this guy hanging, so game is over. What we learn in this game? We learn a lot of stuff. Well, we learn what to do and not to do. From Kramnik's point of view, I think his main headaches came from choosing the wrong plan. I think he played very slow. Bishop b7, in fact, knight d7, move 9 was kind of risky. And Topalov has been created like very strong attack. I really love couple strong moves from Topalov's side, especially like idea of founding this b3 move, idea of playing move bishop b5 was unbelievable. Move 16, the way how he understood he doesn't really need that bishop to be on the board, and he need to control more space and improve his pawn structure by jumping c2, c4, and most important, to improve his knight. By understanding attack in general cannot be successful if you have struggling pieces. And Topalov realized that, and he actually had the chance to improve his position by maximum, and that's what he did. It's also teaching us to be patient when you attack, while you're attacking. Move 25, rook e1, teaching you how important to be patient while you are attacking. So make sure all your pieces are completely involved, and then you start to launch your, let's say, attack. Move 28, showing to you how to make aggressive move, smart move, and also create a trap. Don't play for trap itself, because if you play for trap, it's not smart. But if you continue your game plan, if you continue your strong play and you create a trap aside, then it's smart, then it's clever. So that's about move f5. And finally, final signature of this game, it's a move 31, move bishop c1 when Topalov prepared his last blow, and he prepared bishop c1 with idea to capture on h6. So I think this is a very smart game, and don't forget, you still have short homework here. What do you do? How would you play? How would you continue? How would you proceed your attack after move 24 g6? What do you do? Well, I'm open to your questions. I hope you like these videos, and we'll continue about how to improve our game and become expert in our next videos. It's going to be a long series, I promise. So I'll talk to you soon, and until next time.